Film club.
5 urinals in a bog standard pub. Guy goes there, he wants to have a wee. So naturally, a guy would go there and a guy would there, because you always leave one in between. I like playing mind games. So a guy goes there and I go there, so he has to go next to us. And just he goes around like this, tottering about, going, oh, cubicle.
Thank you very much for joining us for one more round, and welcome back to the very first 2017 episode of Film Club.
Oh, yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, mate. And happy Christmas, of course.
And Merry Christmas. But we saw each other between Christmas and New Year, so that was a bit weird.
Yes.
And to start 2017, we have started on such a good film.
Yeah.
Slumdog Millionaire. I am one of your hosts, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, the illustrious Andy Donaldson.
Now then, do you know what I've noticed?
What?
When you what's the word? When you introduce me, I always wait, look at the camera. There's a pause, and I was going, now then, all the best as well. When I've been doing the audio, I mean, like, why is there such a long gap? So yeah, Slumdog Millionaire by Danny Boyle, 2000 and something. 10, 9, I don't know.
This is actually made before Time was created.
So, just to round up what Slumdog Millionaire is about. It stars a couple of slumdog. Well, actually, no, they're not even slumdogs to start with. The two kids that are Muslim kids in India, and then no, they aren't. They've got a nice, modest lifestyle. But then the mother gets killed, so they have to run away, and that's when they're into the slums. That's actually how they become slums. So yeah, point is, there's two kids that are not from the best of riches, best of life, and actually there's three of them because the three musketeers. You got Latika, the girl, who the main character Jamal invites in. The point is, it's about him going through life, and it goes along and along, all these different events. And the reason you know about his life and the way it goes about his life is because it's set in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire later on in Jamal's life. And each question Jamal, the reason he knows the answer to it, even though he shouldn't, is because at a point in the event in his life, he's known the answer to that, and there's been a reason he's known that answer, which is how the story is told. And just to jump straight into it, I thought that was one of the best pieces of storytelling I've ever experienced, which is why I'm really glad we approached like this film and did it again. Because when you go to film, well, just in general life, when storytelling, there's many different mediums and formats you can use. In this case, you can use film, you can use radio, and you have like radio stories. We did one for our university project. Books, for example, are a great medium to use. Now, we're going a bit like a medium inside a medium. I think that's a wrong wording to use. But you look at Inception, for example, a great film, and that uses the idea of dreams and multiple levels of dreaming to try and create this kind of story to give you an idea of, because each dream represents one of the main characters' kind of like life and thoughts. And we're going a bit of a tangent Inception, just to give you an example. In this case, we're using the format of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to tell a story within a film, another format. And I just think like, wow, that's absolutely brilliant. What do you think?
Yeah, it's class. It's basically, it's non-linear storytelling, but it's non-linear storytelling in a way where you don't... I personally, when I first time watched this, I didn't expect it to carry on like that. The film starts with...
He's the torture, and it says...
Oh, yeah.
This is so-and-so, he's about to... just before the final question of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yes.
And he's getting tortured because they think he's a liar, they think he's cheated.
He's had this break in between answering all the questions and his final question, and they're basically interrogating him like, we don't believe you know the answer to these questions.
Who's
How
coughing?
do you know these answers? Yeah, who's coughing? It's like, who's helping you out? And it tells a story by flipping back and forth between the torture, the actual game show itself,
which is a bit further back in time, like maybe the same day as the torture.
Yeah.
In fact, it is the same day.
And then it's also flittering into like...
different stages of his life, Jamal's life.
Yeah, but it also in the opening, it's just flitting back to, like, to this girl at a train station.
Oh,
and
yeah,
at first,
yeah,
you're kind of like, how do all these things like fit together? And then the film kind of carries that on. Like it obviously pedals back a little bit and tells more linear storytelling, but it kind of constantly cuts back and forth between the question he's on, him answering it in the show, him being interrogated about it, and the actual event itself. And it's such a good storytelling technique. Like, I've never read the book this is based on.
Oh, it's 50-50, isn't it? It's.
I thought it was called Q&A.
Oh, sorry, it is. Oh, I'm thinking of the actual Lifeline 50-50. Q&A, you're right, yeah. Sorry.
But I can't imagine it tells a story quite like that, though.
I think when I was browsing Wiki, because I do that to try and find their sources, you see. So it's like, I like to see like just a couple of films like Slumdog, because it's been like, you got like 10 nominations for Academy Awards. And sometimes, every now and then, I just like to say, like, why was it so good? Was it the acting in particular? Was the film in particular? For me, it's the story and just how it was told. Going back to what you said, they did adapt the screen. They made a screenplay that was an adaptation of that. And one of the main adaptations, I believe, is the use of slumdogs and slums and stuff like that. Because I could be wrong. So hit me up if I'm wrong. But it's it was either the director or the director of photography visited India and was like, oh, this is an amazing lifestyle. And it was, again, I'm quoting Wikipedia. It's probably referenced something. I'm so sorry for being that wiki kind of guy. But he was like so enthralled by these kids with all this like kind of charisma in the streets, the poor kids that were just like loving life, that you wanted to put input there into the film.
And that's like, if you know the story of this film and have seen it before, and you go and watch that opening again, and after like this little interrogation bit's done, and we cut back to the earliest point in his life when
the airport,
all the kids like playing cricket down at the airport. It's it's tonally, it's like, it doesn't fit. It does fit, but like you don't remember that being the tone of the film. It's so like, these kids are just like happy and like they're living in these horrible conditions which no one should really have to live in. I'm sure they're still living in a slum.
It's not as bad.
Or a favela.
It's not like living on a fucking dump heap.
No, they're not living on a dump heap, but it's still a slum.
Yeah, okay.
And they're not living in great conditions, but they're loving it. They're just like, they're just kids having fun in the environment which they're raised. Yeah. And like those two have this really interesting relationship. And while we're on the subject, the two child actors who carry this film for the first like third. Yeah. It's amazing.
Because they use three actors. They use everyone knows is Dev Patel, who does Jamal. I can't remember the other two, but it's when they're growing up, sort of like our age.
Each of these characters, all three of the main characters, Jamal, Salim and Latika, all have three actresses that represent different stages in their life.
You have like three stages, and the initial stage, as you mentioned, that first stage.
And the kids who open it are awesome. They're really good.
Good chemistry together as well, haven't they? And it's like that scene when he goes into the shitty, he's like, ah.
That is the funniest thing in almost any film ever, where he gets locked in the toilet and he's just holding this picture
what would he do?
Of his hero.
He goes,
he just jumps in and he's just head to toe covered in shit.
And I was like, when he was going through the crowd, he's like, let me through. I was like, ah. He got shit all over him.
Yep.
But yeah, honestly, those two kids were fantastic.
That also sets up, though, one of my favourite things that runs like from the very beginning of this film right to the end, and that's that weird relationship that he has with his brother. Yeah. Where his brother does the classic protective older brother thing, where he's very protective of him. He feels like he has to control the situation. But at the same time, he always looks at Jamal with this jealousy of his innocence.
Yeah.
He always, like, he protects him, which allows him to have that sort of innocent wonder about the world and like higher morals and whatnot. Because Salim's the one who has to go through all the horrible stuff.
Because when their mother dies, it's Salim that who's like kind of has to bring Jamal up. Like that. Later in life, you find out that Salim is he's like kind of the head boy when they're going through the torch and the blind eyes, and he has to choose whether to do that, become a leader, or set himself and Jamal free. Yeah. In which he sets Jamal free, so he's putting his brother above any future he might potentially have. And he's going back to the slums because he wants to save his brother.
It's in that first scene that you see the first like seed of the jealozy he has.
When he gets the picture,
slightly nicer, and he takes that autograph that he gets from the celebrity, the actor over his, and he goes and sells it. Yeah. So just like everything from this film is, nothing's lost, nothing goes to a loose thread, nothing is just wasted. Everything is used.
Everything is used. It's a good word. It's a good thing now. Good notice thing. No, it's hard to explain why it's so good without actually watching it and appreciating just everything that this film entails, and just realising that it's just a brilliant piece of work. It's really hard to actually review this and say like, this is amazing because so-and-so, because you have like other films, The Martian's use of, and we're going to have our first episode of The Martian's use of getting you in there and making you feel a part of it. That's why that film's so good, and the sound and stuff like that, and the use of camera work. In this one, I actually know that there's one thing that's just stand out, and this is cinematography is superb.
Yes.
But this film, it's really hard to say like, I suppose you could say it's the actors, isn't it, really?
Well, definitely the actors. It's the actors, the writing, it's the writing. It's one of these films where everything just comes together.
Yes. So it's no like stand-up parts why it's so amazingly good. Everything just fits together and just makes it an amazing experience. I'm so glad we watched this again, because we were on about what films do we do, and it's like, you know what? critically acclaimed, shitloads of awards. It's like 92% Rotten Tomatoes. Slumdog Millionaire.
It's always one of those films where whenever I watch it again, it's better than I remember it is. Always. I don't know why, for some reason, I always put it in the back of my head and don't. Like, if you're talking about best films of all time, it's probably not one that comes to the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
But watching it, you're like, this is genuinely one of the best films I've ever seen.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Please do watch it. Well, obviously. Or hopefully you already have. My point is, it's great. But there's some really good things about this film that I really like. And that's the incorporation of English and Indian kind of like, it's kind of a lovely mould of it together.
Yeah.
And what's really well done is, especially when they're going to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the host. I don't know if he's actually Indian Who Wants to Be a Millionaire host, but that guy, he mixes English with kind of like weird Indian kind of phrases.
Yeah.
Like when he's on about computer locking in, he uses the Indian thing in that. It's really well done how they do that.
I was trying to think to myself, like, do you think that's how Indian Who Wants to Be a Millionaire would be? Do you think on TV they flip back and forth between those two languages?
I don't know.
Or is it something that's been done to make it more accessible to English audiences?
I think it might be more accessible, but also have that element of Indian culture, which I think works stupidly well, if that was intended by Danny Boyle and co. Because I think it was a co-director who was an Indian co-director as well, if I read the credits correctly. It was Danny Boyle who directed it, but there was like a kind of co-director who did like the Indian kind of parts and stuff. It was just the end credits that said co-directed by so-and-so.
Interesting. Should we check that?
You check. So
I'm sorry, I don't have the iPad.
Yeah, sorry, iPad. So just continue on from that merge of Indian and English culture is the soundtrack actually done by, I forget him, but he's the guy that did Jai-Ho, I think Jai-Ho, like that. And his use of the soundtrack, whether it's written stuff, like that song, for example, where all the cast at the end credits are all dancing away, you know, kind of Bollywood style, brilliant.
It totally jumped out to me to how I know you do go through time a little bit, but the soundtrack's very modern.
That's my point.
Very, very modern.
So there's a song that's is one of like the main themes of Slumdog Millionaire. It's like, bling, take your money.
Yeah,
all I wanna do is.
That's the one that stands out the most.
Yeah, so that was a famous song. It was like all on the charts and stuff. And that's probably why you heard it. And it was one of the ones to use to market Slumdog Millionaire. And there's a use of some other brilliant songs as well. In fact, he uses
Loveleen Tandon.
And there you go. So there was a co-director. Get in. So yeah, I saw that in the credits. And it's got a very modern soundtrack. It's also got a very Indian soundtrack. It's also got some lovely original work and some lovely kind of, other songs put into the soundtrack. Lovely combination. I wish if you could try and get the guy, I'll find it, yeah. But no, it's brilliant.
It's this interesting score which mixes up like licensed tracks.
Yes, licensed tracks.
Original music. And also like classic film scoring, like regular just average film score, and it makes this very accessible but also stretching sort of style. One of the things that, like that song, for example, where they're on the train, it's cut into that song.
Yeah. And it's so relevant to that scene as well, isn't it?
Yeah, like out of context, I wouldn't like that song normally, I don't think.
Yeah.
But he cuts it so well. It's one of the things Danny Boyle always does well, is music. He just always nails
Sunshine.
Music. In this one, he just nails it in a really different way. It's actually, not because of the train, but it reminds me of Train Spotting. When they're on the train, like that style of use of music.
Hold on a second. Train Spotting, was that Danny Boyle, wasn't it? Fucking hell, of course it was. Because we always say, what's your favourite Danny Boyle film? And it's hard because I always just think Sunshine straight away because it's like my favourite by him. But then I always forget that Train Spotting exists. And like that he did it, not that it exists. But then you think about 28 Days Later. So,
have you found the guy?
Yeah, it's A.R. Rahman. A.R. Rahman. And he's a famous Indian producer / writer / one of these people that just does everything.
Yeah.
Going on to that, so Danny Boyle, he does so many good pieces of work, as I've just previously mentioned. Do you reckon this is his masterpiece?
No, yes. And I say that, right?
Because of Train
Because we discussed Danny Boyle before, right?
Yeah.
And every single time we talk about Danny Boyle,
for me, it's Sunshine. Even though it's not critically the best, I just love that film.
For almost any other director, I can be like, this is my favourite film that director has done.
Yeah.
With Danny Boyle, I just go back and forth because Slumdog Millionaire, Sunshine, Train Spotting.
Even 28 Days.
28 Days Later, 127 Hours is also awesome.
I haven't seen that yet. I didn't know it was Danny Boyle as well.
He's just like,
He's and I tell you what, actually, and this is going to be a very controversial kind of thing, but I dare say joint top for my favourite Danny Boyle, I wouldn't say film, but thing that he's directed was the London 2012 Olympic ceremony. Because that to me, I'm not gonna lie. I still to this day I watch that. I watch it with my grandma, but I watch it and I get proper lump in my throat how patriotic it is, and I think it's one of the best experiences I've seen. That steelwork when they're lifting rings up, and because our dad's a steelworker, kind of that kind of industry. So it's like, shit, that's so he's done that as well. And I just think for Danny Boyle, it just shows how amazing he is as a director. I'm struggling to find a film that he did that, because people say Sunshine's not amazing, but I think it's a great example of cinematography. And I keep going on about Sunshine because it's amazing. Please just listen to the soundtrack, John Murphy.
Well, we should definitely do Sunshine.
Oh, we will.
Relatively soon on Film Club, because I agree it's one of his most underrated films.
Oh, underrated is a good word.
But on the subject of Trainspotting, let's pull it back for a second before we leave him for the rest of this, the cast. Of everyone's got three. Of each of those three actors who portray that character, who do you think does it best for each one?
This is a really good question. I think the young kid, the young Salim.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like, bizarrely, of those three, they all nail it, really.
Yeah.
That young kid.
Young Salim, yeah.
He's awesome. He's so watchable. He's so likeable.
Yeah.
Gets covered in shit. You still love him.
No, that's Jamal.
Oh, sorry.
Jamal is the main one.
Yeah.
Salim is his older brother.
Yeah.
And I think, right, so...
Young Salim as well.
Because he just owns it, like everything. He's just like so commanding. And
to be fair, I would have watched a film with all three of those young kids.
Yeah. No, they were fantastically good. On a side note, oh, actually, I've got a daft note there about what we're going to that. It's good about, like, when I write notes and I'm knackered and I'm watching a film, it's like, when it goes through the TV into the Who Want to Be a Millionaire, it's reminiscent of the Martian, the news conference scene. It's silly note. It's something I like to pick up on when we're on about just actors. And one of them is, there's a bit of, I don't know if it's just the media being the media and just being dicks, because I was actually looking at his filmography, and it's not actually too bad. But there was a concern that Dev Patel has been typecast into that kind of Indian kind of role. When I first saw Dev Patel, as a young kid, I was watching Skin Series 1 and Series 2. And, he came from a Muslim family, but, he's just completely English and all this, whereas in these films, he has to put on a bit of an accent.
Yeah.
Hence the typecast. And I remember watching an interview ages ago, it's like, are you not concerned that you're being typecast in these kind of roles? And I think in the end, if it's his job, he's getting money. But I think Dev Patel is an actor, from what other stuff I've seen him, and my mind can't find it right now, but I remember thinking last night, he's a very diverse actor, he's brilliant. And I know he did one recently, which is kind of like why I'm thinking it was just the media just being dicks.
Well, it's a genuine problem in cinema as well, though. Have you ever seen that Netflix comedy show, Masters of None?
I've never heard of it, but go on.
And the main character in that is trying to become an actor, and he keeps getting offered these small roles. And there's an episode where they make light of it, because it's still kind of like a light comedy, where it's about the fact that he keeps getting offered either like a taxi driver or like someone who has the thick Indian accent. And those are the only roles he gets offered. Obviously, like part of the resolution of that is that he puts his foot down and says, no, I'm not going for this. I'm not going to accept that role because it's that type of character.
Yeah.
And then someone else just takes it.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So, no, but it's a genuine problem that at the moment we are trying to portray more and more races on screen.
But how do you do that with
stereotyping them?
Yes.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
This is not great.
Well, like I said, Dev Patel did a recent, I can't remember.
The great thing about this is that it's set in India. Like, it's not like they're taking somebody who is Indian and has a perfect English accent or anything, or American accent, or wherever they're from, and making them put an accent because they just want someone to sound like that.
Yeah.
They're doing it because it's actually set in that country.
Yeah.
And this is a film which is debatably Bollywood. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Very Bollywood elements to it.
I know there's like a couple of things in there which people debate and say it can't be Bollywood because of this, or it can't be Bollywood because of that. But it's got a heavy sort of Bollywood influence, if nothing else.
Look at the ending there when they do that song.
Well, it's the ending which is part of the thing, isn't it? I think Bollywood, you never have, you either never have a kiss, or you never have a complete kiss. And the fact that they have that final moment together is one of the reasons people debate whether or not this is a Bollywood film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Which, like, it's ridiculous. It's just a small part of it.
Yeah, I guess so. No, it's interesting. I can't say I've really ever watched a Bollywood. This is the closest thing I watched a Bollywood, and for anyone that says it's not a Bollywood film, I am so sorry. But this probably is the closest experience. Just another reminiscence of a previous film that we've reviewed was Boyhood, and their use of going from an age to an age. And a good example is when they're on the train and eventually get kicked off and he's trying to steal some food. And suddenly they're rolling, and then they come out and it's the second stage of actors.
Yeah.
Brilliantly well done. Absolutely superbly well done. Well edited, well directed. I liked it.
Yeah. It's great. Like, in the same respect, when we were talking about Boyhood a few weeks ago, go back and watch it if you haven't seen it, this is the sort of film where at the beginning you're introduced to these characters and then you get to watch them go on this long journey.
A bit like Boyhood.
A bit like Boyhood. Like, you get to see them go across this long journey. By the end of it, you kind of look back and go, oh my God, like, I can't believe where we were.
Yeah.
And in fact, Danny Boyle uses that as a tool at the end where they're in the train station and he's finally going towards her, and you get these little flashbacks. And normally I hate flashbacks in films.
But that works.
This really works because you do feel like you've been this epic journey with these two. And for them to finally get, like, to the end where he finally gets... he's finally getting the girl in the end.
Yeah, and the money.
Which, worth mentioning, I love the use of yellow for her. She's always dressed in yellow.
Why is that? Is that just...
And I was, well, what's the colour we associate with happiness? Yellow. She represents his happiness.
He's the colour guy.
they literally make her represent his happiness, so that's him finally
really
getting
well done.
his happiness.
Because she always has that shawl, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She puts on.
When she's a kid, she's dressed in like a yellow dress.
Well played. Well noticed, Andy.
He's always in blue, if you want to know that as well. But
what's blue? Hope.
Blue's normally sadness, isn't it?
Hope. Well, what's it in Green Lantern? It's hope, isn't it?
It's hope.
Oh, was that for Green Lantern knowledge? You'll be proud of that, man. You'll be proud of that.
So proud of that. Next week we're doing Green Lantern.
No. Sorry. There's another, like, just a tiny little note I've got to add, and I need to ask you this before when we finish or whatever. But when he cuts into Jamal in the call centre for the first time, it gets them cut to an outside bit with a security going past, and one of them says, "No filming." Do you reckon that was actually just like them trying to film his part secretly? And you might be able to get the clip up or something.
I don't remember that.
And it's the security guards who just hear this "no filming" like this, and it could well be like an outtake that's secretly put in.
I kind of hope that is now.
I really do as well. I really do. If anyone knows, please let us know.
Or were you watching like a really dodgy copy and it's actually someone in the audience who's like, "Oh mate, no filming."
No, he actually turns to the camera and goes, "No filming."
I don't remember that.
Oh, well, look out for it. If you,
I'm going to go back and watch it.
Yeah. Oh, please do. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. So overall, Slumdog Millionaire is a superbly good film, as you rightly put. It's just so well-rounded and everything just works. There's a really good thing that you said in the sense that nothing is put out there and disused. Everything is used and everything comes together. And it's the story is in a medium that's just like a medium within inside a medium, as mentioned earlier. A film that's set out and telling a story through Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Superbly, brilliantly done. Like, you would never think of doing something like that, would you?
No, it's sort of film which is perfectly acted. The script is fascinating and well translated to screen. You're right, it uses the medium it's in, like, spot on. One of the things I was worried about was it aging poorly because of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But actually, it seems to be aging quite well so far. Yeah.
Well, I used to watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Mum and I think Dad back in the day. And it was weird seeing that kind of experience. Like, oh, it's this question. And going back to it, so it was almost like kind of a bit nostalgia about it, but not in a bad way. Not like, oh, it's really aged. It's like, that's just how quiz shows kind of are. And that was just one of many. No, it was good. Yeah.
So yeah, overall, this film is
superb. It's worthy. Worthy nominations by far.
And it's not just whereas something Boyhood was like, here's this kid growing up. This is like, here's this kid growing up
with a great story to tell.
Plus these themes of like success in the face of adversity. Plus, like, there's some religious stuff going on. There's some like belief stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's all this stuff about like faith and destiny.
And at the start it says, he's going to win this money. Is he cheating? Is he cheating? B, is he this? Going back to the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire format, and at the end it says D, is it written? At the very end of the film, it just goes back to that D. It is written.
Yeah.
It is written, then cuts out, and it says D, directed by Danny Boyle. I thought it was a great ending.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. It's so good. So good.
So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Do let us know in the comments below what you thought at home. Next week, if you want to join us, we are going to be playing. Oh my God, we're going to be watching Alien.
Oh, good.
From Ridley Scott.
You remembered. I'm looking forward to that.
This is our very first one back from 2017, so there was a good chance I was going to forget that.
Yeah. I had it in my head, you see. We may or may not have a guest if he's not busy.
I'm so excited for
resident
Alien.
horror fan.
So excited for Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and to have a guest back on as well.
Yeah,
he better be here.
I hope he's here. Because he's been on about doing this for ages, and he's like, whenever you do a horror film, invite me.
So even if he doesn't join us, you must join us. So get watching Alien, come back next week, and we hope to see you then. Thank you very much.
The 5 urinal rule.
Yeah, do remember the 5 urinal rule. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.